Welcome to Light Talk with Jason and Jordan. I'm Jordan. Below me here is Jason, and tonight's guest is W.L. Rodriguez. Would you like to say hi to the audience today?
Hello, everyone. I'm W.L. Rodrigues, and it's a great pleasure to be here talking to everyone. I'm really excited. There's a lot of stories here to cover, and I'm sure that everyone here will enjoy.
Awesome. And Jason,
Absolutely.
would you like to further introduce our guest?
Absolutely. As you guys know, I'm Jason, the co-host. Um, Essentially, I met WL here through a Facebook page called Strange Oklahoma. I had posted on there, expressing my desire, like I'll always will, to interview those who have, quote unquote, maybe have like a little rub with the paranormal or a little thing is outside the normal, if you will. And WL here was one of the first ones to reach out. Um, before we go further into the conversation, as we one of the main things WL is here for is some of his literature, and I want to share some of his works before he gets to speaking here. This isn't inclusive in all of his works, and I'm pretty sure he's working on more. But this is a little list I have for him, and this first one's the one we're going to talk about today. Uh, the call is now. The Galactic Federation of Light Manual, Volume One. Letters from the Sanctuary. The Interstellar Countdown. Letters from the Galactic Federation of Light. Rise, Lightkeepers. The Galactic Federation of Light Manual, Volume 2. Resilience, Courage, and Faith. Teachings of Love. Tales of the Galactic Federation of Light. And Winds of Change. Which are all books I highly recommend you take a look at. I haven't honestly, frankly, read all those books yet. So far, I have read The Call Is Now, and one of the reasons I before I preface everything else, I didn't know that the podcast was going to coincide with the beginning of the Fire Horse new year. So it felt like everything aligned. I don't want to ruin the podcast. I'd love to start everything with WL. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how we got to meet the man that you are today.
Of course, and thank you so much, Jason. Um, I come from the IT industry. Nothing related to mediumship, nothing related to galactic messages or spiritual messages. And I always have been in close contact with, let's say, the paranormal, right? What most call paranormal, for me, I have been calling normal. So, since I was a kid, and I come from a family of mediums, and but I have never been actually able to channel anything. Um, but I had very interesting moments in my life with the what we mentioned as paranormal until um, pretty recently, actually last year, um, on May 8th. That was the date that the new pope was elected, and that's when everything changed. So that's where I had an astral projection. That was my second astral projection. The first one I just roamed in my house, um, and the second one was much more intense. Right. The in this episode, it was um, it was like I work from home, so that's important context. So I work from home, so I basically wake up a little bit later, right, than anyone else that needs to take some commute and so on. And I just go straight to work, right, just across my house. That day, I woke up a little bit earlier than usual. So I stayed in my bed. I mean, they said, "Oh, I'm not going to wake up right now. I'm just going to stay a little bit more here." You know that feeling, right, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Restlessness.
so I, at that moment when I was, I entered in a state that I can tell you it was not a dream state. It was different. It was very, very uh, real. It was I can't express in words, but it was totally different from a dream. It was like I woke up in a room. It was a very small room with minimal lights, and there was an open door where I could see light on the other side. And I was in a very simple bed, if I may call it. But the only thing that one thing that was strange is that there was a ray of light from top down that would go directly to where my head or my forehead was. And what that ray of light was very different. It was like it had some almost as it would be almost solid. I tried to touch it and feel it. It was different, but okay. I mean, I wasn't scared at all, even though I was in a room out of nowhere in a very strange situation. So I got out of that bed and decided to go outside of that room. When I went to, I was outside the room. I was in a location, kind of a corridor where I could see multiple rooms just like mine. I'm assuming that they were just like mine, but all the doors, I'm sorry, were closed. And then I decided to explore the area. That corridor was not closed, but it was open. It didn't have a ceiling or something in that sense. So one thing that I am able to do during my projections and dreams also is I can easily levitate, and then that's what I decided to do. So let me try to see, from top down where I am, what's going on here. So I started levitating, and then I saw that uh, right out this area where I was, there was some sort of park or open area, okay, um, where I could see people down there. They could see me, and then uh, a little bit after I was, navigating there, I went down. And when I went down, I was in a location that resembled a parking lot, not a parking lot like, let's say, Target or Walmart, but somewhere where vehicles would be there. And then I was approached by a blonde woman. She was older. If I would give her an age, I would say around her 50 something. And there was a guy, uh, I would say that in his 30s. So they approached me, and then the woman asked me to hold hands with her and the other guy so we could do a prayer. And I said, okay, so let's do this prayer together. And their energy was pretty calm. So I wasn't scared at all. I was in a location where I could say, well, you know, that feeling when you were among friends, you can't explain, but it's like that sensation that you're safe. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need to be scared there, right?
Mhm.
That was the situation. So we held hands, and as the woman started the prayer, that was something out of this world because she started to pray in a language that I could not identify. And one thing I like a lot is languages. Since I was a kid, learning languages is my one of my the top things in my heart. So this woman started talking in a language that I could not identify, and then when she started to when she was doing that prayer, she started to grow in presence. Not exactly like it, but remember, guys, during the Lord of the Rings, where Galadriel talks to Frodo, or there was a scene like that where she grows in presence, you
Mhm.
know. So there was something like that. But of course, Galadriel in the movie was a little bit scary to me.
Yep.
But that sense that someone, you know, grows in presence and in size, and then when the the prayer ended, she went back to her normal state, and then she looked at me and said, well, you're ready now. The whenever you're ready, the Pleiadians will contact you. And then I was shocked, right? I knew the Pleiadians were, but that was quite an experience. And then I, quote unquote, I woke up, and I that was once I woke up, I had that feeling that, hey, this was something real. This was something pretty real. Those people, they were not just out of from my mind. That was different. And I said, well, how do I contact these Pleiadians, right? I mean, they didn't leave me their phone number or their email address. So I thought, I thought that, you know, about that during, I think it was a couple weeks. I had no idea, you know, what to do, when to do, nothing at all. So one day I basically asked, I sat down, I did a prayer saying, hey, dear God, I'm ready. You know, if these Pleiadians are hearing me now, I'm ready, I'm good. So I told them, well, let's do try to do a channeling session. You know, this particular day, I don't remember exactly the date there, but for example, if it was a Thursday, oh, Thursday, 7 a.m., let's do this. Okay. And then I put all my intention there, all my energies, and well, I waited until that day, and it was pretty interesting. That day, I put the paper in front of me. I grabbed my pen. It was a black pen, and I was I tried to relax. I did a prayer, you know, preparation, protection, everything that I would do to get that started. I held my hand, the pen with my hand, And then nothing happened at all. Nothing happened. That was the the biggest, bummer ever. I sat there for about an hour with that pen in front of that that paper, and nothing happened. Um, except for one little thing, one little tiny little detail. In my kind of in my mental, I received a mental image that was very, very clear. It was the same paper that I had, and there was a small heart written or drawn there, but with in black. That was it. That was a tiny little heart that I had in my mind. And then I was expecting that, once I got the pen, I started to write automatically, started writing pages and pages. But that didn't happen. I just got that tiny, simple heart. And then I was very frustrated. I thought, oh my God, I did something terribly wrong here. I don't know what I did. Well, how I can make it better, make it work. So I went back to work, and then later that night, when I was taking a shower, then there was, that aha moment, a moment of insight that came to my mind. What if I was not this kind of medium that automatically, starts writing everything, goes into a trance and so on, but they were somehow printing an idea to me and in my head, and I should translate that idea into words, put in paper what I was being kind of quote unquote communicated. So what if they were telling me to draw that heart, as simple as that? And then I said, oh, you know what? Next session, I will do that. I'll start with that. So I think the next session was on a Tuesday, something like that. I was very determined. I said, no, now I know what to do. I gotta do this right. I sat down, did all the preparation work. I was good. When I got the pen, again, the same heart showed in my mind. Exactly the same heart on a paper. Well, I took my black pen, and I drew that heart. As soon as I did that heart on the paper, it was like I unlocked something, the next level. Immediately, the letter A showed up in my mind. And then I wrote down A. And then as I started writing those letters, a new character started to show on my mind, like B, C, D. And I started writing those characters until a point where, let's say that I got until F, and then it jumped to M. It wasn't sequential, right? So it went to M, and I said, okay, M, and then N, and then N, and then some random characters, numbers, and I understood that it was kind of a calibration, some sort of calibration, that where I would try to test, or they were, or whoever was trying to test how I could quote unquote hear these words or view or receive the information and translate that into paper. So the first session was pretty much it. I mean, trying to put down on paper these characters, after characters, small words, and then that migrated to a small phrase. And when I got to the level of a phrase, that was not sure in the first or in the second session, but a phrase would take forever to come. So let's say I would say, oh, my name is WL. It would take 5 minutes. It would say I, and then I would wait, and then am, and then wait, and so on. But in a question of a week, I started getting pretty fluent on that. I received the idea, I wrote it down. Received the idea, wrote it down. Um, Up to the point where I was writing, I was receiving ideas faster than I could even write. So that was pretty awesome. Until, well, and the messages were all around quick messages about spiritual guidance, right? So how to love more, how to be a better person, how to face our fears, right? And that was what I was expecting really to start receiving. That maybe I received the letter from someone called Marlene to a guy not named Richard. Never understood who that Richard was, but I got that letter until another very weird day where not that all that was common, right? So one day I got what looked like a prophecy, or that was pretty different from everything that I received so far. And it was short as well. And it went like that. What was, what is, what has been hidden in shadows will be revealed when trumpets blow in the fifth day of creation. He will rise among men. He will bring peace. And it was signed by Isaiah. And then I thought, wait a minute, it looks like, a prophetic message, and it's written by Isaiah that, as far as I know, was a prophet, from the Bible. I started to wait, to wait there and said, okay, so there's something wrong here. There's something weird. Maybe I'm not understanding these messages. Maybe, it is a spiritual prank, or I don't know what that is. And then I decided to ask my brother about if he would have any insights to what's been going on. My brother, he is a medium in Brazil, and he does a very selfless work of channeling in this obsession. And during his work, he can really channel it, and the spirits can talk through him. So that kind of medium. When he was, and then I told him, hey, there are some weird messages popping up. I didn't tell him about any prophecy. I didn't tell him, any other detail. Just told him, hey, there's something weird. Can you, if you can get, if your guide's there, they can provide a message, or they can tell me what might be going on. That's when and he would say, okay, I will do that on Friday. I'm sorry, on Saturday. And then that was a Thursday. I said, okay, so let's wait. And then on Friday, I tried doing the session again. When I did this session, some very nice messages came up, very insightful messages. And then there was the word for the next message, the one of the last, I think. There was this word ride, like a hitchhiker's ride, something like that, or hitchhiking. In Brazil, there is a specific word for that, so that the word came in Portuguese. So I got that word. Say what? Why are we talking about that? We're talking about beautiful messages, not about hitchhikers. And then it was like, okay, just write it down. Write it down. I said, okay, so the ride. And then there was kind of a story, but in a different way. It sounded like a parable from Jesus, right? Because Jesus used to speak through parables, through these stories, right? They would be easier for the people to understand and visualize what he was talking about, right? So it was a very interesting story about about a truck and a hitchhiker trying to get a ride, and the trucks would go through pass by because they were all full, or they were undecided to catch the hitchhiker, until one very good person stopped, and when the hitchhiker entered, he said, "Well, blessed you that you did not have the load," something around those lines. But I'm just, summarizing that in a sentence, and but I really in, incentive people to go to the book and check it out. But that was another moment that I said, okay, something is really, really going on here. It's totally different. So first, that message was kind of a prophecy, and now a parable that looked like something from Jesus. I mean, this is weird. And then Saturday came, and my brother said, "Hey, we received a message here, but this message was something totally different from everything that we received so far. Everything. Usually, he got messages from suffering spirits or enlightened the mentors from the house, providing spiritual guidance and things like that. This time, he said that it felt like something alien, something totally out of this world. So the presence was not human at all, he said, but still very elevated, more elevated than the spiritual mentors from the house. And then there was this his message. The message is pretty long. It's also in the book, but basically, there was this understanding that my mission there started, and I would start channeling, not only these beautiful messages, but things with more substance, if I may put it this way, like people from interdimensional beings, beings from other worlds, not only humans. And said, okay, so after that, I don't remember if it was exactly the same day, the same night, or but it was a day pretty close to that. When I was in bed, I was preparing to sleep. I felt a presence just beside me, and sometimes I can feel that kind of thing. And I felt someone beside me, and that presence was different. It was calm. I'm sorry. I wasn't, you know, I didn't feel fear or anything. It was just calm. And I said, okay. I extended my hand and I invited that person to do a prayer with me. And when we did that, I received a mental impression again of an alien being, which I tried to put in the illustration in the book as better as I could using AI. Um, and then on the next day, I got a message in the session saying that that person was actually that was me. He was presenting himself as the spiritual the guide for the project, and that I had a lot of work to do. Basically, there were lots of messages, and I was just getting started. Um, and that's where basically every single day, Monday through Fridays, since that month of May last year, I started channeling messages after messages, about three, sometimes four messages a day. And that's where we are now with book number 11 published, and now writing books 12 and 13 at the same time. Uh, there were messages so far from people, a multitude of people. Let's say people just like you and me, guys. People just people that are watching this video right now. Normal folks. People that went through hell in the spiritual plane. People that were in good places. People from the past. For example, I got messages from Leibniz, Albert Einstein, uh, kings from a king from Atlantis, and a lot of people, um, elevated spirits, and of course the galactic friends. They presented themselves as the Galactic Federation of Light, and then Pleiadians, Arcturians, uh, Syrians, Avians, whatever you can think of. They probably sent a message. Um, so in sum, that's where my brief history story of how things started. Before I move forward, do you guys have any question? I'm sorry, I talk too much, guys.
No, you're doing great.
You're doing great, my friend.
You know, I really appreciate your story. Um, I was guided to just blurt out whatever's on my mind, and then everything's going to flow from that point forward. So I really enjoyed reading, your journey to get to where you were. And I loved, the heart that was, you had this impression on your mind. And as soon as you drew that heart, everything just kind of flowed. So, it's really great to hear, again, your journey as you got started with this stuff.
Thank you, thank you.
WL, I've been telling a lot of people lately, encouragement is like steroids for the soul. And I think you were really lucky that you were born in such a beautiful family that whether or not you were going to enter into mediumship, they were at least open to such things. You know, there's people out here that they're not really a part of such a community or a family that will embrace that. So it's kind of like setting an environment. You had a really good environment, which I think is really cool. Um, the awesome thing too is I was wondering if you ever saw yourself in parallels with artists, because you kind of have a set and setting every day for how your these messages are coming in, the same as artists do as well. So with ideas being a living thing, do you think that you have a propensity for these living things, these living ideas that come from these different individuals that are kind of accumulating within you?
Well, that is a very good point. Um, I got messages from people that I didn't even know they existed. And I mean, of course, because a lot of people might think, well, that is something from his mind, right? That is a construction. Well, he probably, well, he likes science fiction, so he likes, these spirituality videos, so he knows about all this stuff. And to be quite frank, lots of times I doubted myself, saying, hey, is this coming from my mind or is this a construction, something that my subconscious is, you know, giving me, or is this really happening? There were some messages that totally proved me that this was real. Let me give you guys a couple cases. I think the one of the first cases where was that I received a message from a Roman emperor, and then I was writing that message down. I couldn't catch his name quite well. I knew that it started with C, something like that, but I couldn't understand the name pretty well. But I mean, whatever. Let's just write it down. Um, and then when I finished the message, this messenger, this emperor, he sent me an image, a very clear image of a Roman coin. Because at that time, the coins were they had the face or the side of the head of the emperor, right? In On the coin. So he showed me a coin, like, hey, this is me. And then I said, okay, so let me try to find this coin. So I started searching and searching until I really found that coin. That was the emperor right after Caligula, Claudius, I forgot his name, so Claudius something. Um, and then when I saw that the picture of that coin, it was the exact image that I saw, during that impression. Another story was kind of recent. I mean, probably a couple months ago, something like that. I got there was a story of a survivor from the atomic bomb at Hiroshima or Nagasaki. I don't recall, but one of those, of course, those two cities. And then it was like he was a kid. Well, there was the kid and the mom, and as they were outside of the town, and then they saw at a distance the bomb going off, and then the mom tried to cover the kid's eye, from that horrible vision. Um, and then of course, the mom tried later to, go see if, try to go after family and, whatever hell those guys went through, right? When I I didn't capture the name of the mom, but I found later a guy that experienced, well, a guy. Now he's a pretty senior senior man. I'm not sure if he's already dead, but um, he he went through exactly through that situation where his mom, they were outside of town, the bomb went off, his mom tried to cover his eyes, exactly the same situation. um and I said, wow, I mean, never heard about that guy, never ever. I mean, so details like that, they proved me that, things were not a coincidence. It was not a product of my mind. Still, what I tell everyone, everybody, if you don't believe this, if you think that it's a product of my mind, still read the messages. If they if you think that I created them, that's okay. Just try to absorb what they're telling. If they can bring you comfort, if they can make you grow as a better person, I'm good. I'm good. The messengers are good with that. They always say it doesn't matter who wrote that. It matters the message, the content, and how that will help you, right? So yeah, I mean, it's been, there are some pretty intense chapters in this last year.
Nice. Did that really help kind of boost your confidence, being able to confirm different things? And I'm sure there's been more too, correct?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of messages from, like I said, totally unexpected people. Um, one one of the first, let's say, major things that happened was, I got a message about explaining that on top of Oklahoma City, well, actually, initially the area of Mustang and Yukon, there is an astral city, small astral city called the Sanctuary. And and then I was fascinated by this concept. I mean, I said, well, I asked the spiritual mentors, well, what if we create a book only about this sanctuary? It sounds like something, that people need to hear about. And then we had book three. That is, book three is all about the sanctuary. So, how is life over there? What people do? How people were saved from dark regions and brought to this astral city, now living their lives, preparing for a new life on Earth. Um, and that was an amazing experience. Later, the spiritual city, due to the huge amount of effort of rescuing people in the region here, in the Oklahoma region, it's now practically the size of Oklahoma City. So it's big. It's a big astral city now. Um, so yeah, that was a whole book about those guys, the sanctuary. That was pretty amazing. Uh, there was also well, not a revelation, but I understood that there was a specific vessel at the time from the Federation working directly with me. That is, the name of the vessel is called the Divine Light. Was composed of five beings. Well, the captain or the commander or whatever you would call it is called Ayan. And there's an insectoid called that he didn't have a name in our language. So I told him, well, can I give you a name? And he said, well, go for it. Choose a beautiful name for me. And then I thought, well, Gaia's just like, remembering Gaia, and Earth. So I told Gaius, and he loved it. That let's go, let's do it. My name is Gaius now. So I had been a lot of messages through most of the books. They have been from these galactic friends, not only from the Divine Light, but from the Federation in general. One of the messages touched the topic about how would be first contact with mankind, because everyone, thinks like, oh, will it be like Independence Day? Will it be like Contact? Or how will that happen? So and that is a full chapter on book 2 of the Galactic Federation of Light manual. Basically, what they explained is that it will not be like Independence Day. So I'm sorry, folks. There will be no huge, massive spaceship on top of, the Empire State's Building or something like that. There will be a moment where they call the dance of lights. At night, we're gonna see some weird lights during the night sky, and it will be like these little dots. They will be dancing everywhere, changing colors. Sometimes making a pattern. Um, you know, Something very, very simple, if I put it this way. Um, After that, and we will notice that these are not drones, because usually drones, you can hear that sound like a bee sound, right? So it will not be a drone. It will not do any kind of noise, and there will be no helicopters or anything in the sky at that moment. That will happen worldwide, so not in a single place. So all around the globe. And then there will be one day, not soon enough, where those lights will become ships, visible ships during daylight. And they will just stay there. Just like, imagine that there is a friend, you don't talk, for ages, and he knocks at your door. Of course, he's a great friend of yours, but he will just stay outside, waiting for you to open your door and say, "Come in." That will be the exact same thing. They will be there waiting for us to say, "Okay, come on in." How do we say "come on in"? uh, Through our vibration. So we raise our vibration, we welcome them with love, and then at that moment, they will land and they will present themselves. So, first, those races that are much more like humans, they will present themselves. So, for example, the Pleiadians, where we wouldn't be shocked, right? And then the next level, where, for example, the felines, where these, lions or tigers, well, shaped beings. And then they would start introducing other kinds of races, but that would be something more like gradual in that sense. Um, and then, of course, they will not come here to say, "Hey, take me to your leader," because they don't work like that. They don't want to talk to any leader. They want to talk to mankind, not to a specific person. And guys, not talking about politics here, right? I mean, they don't care about our politics. If you prefer right or left, blue or yellow or green or whatever color, do you prefer, or red, or they will just connect with mankind. And that's when first contact starts. So, so that is what I think one of the biggest messages, I think, in my opinion, from The Call Is Now. Um, that book has so many messages, so many, uh, unexpected things and news and cosmic events, like, for example, the solar flash. That's a very recurring theme throughout the books. An upcoming solar flash, our DNA awakening, uh, how will be the currency on New Earth, how how is the process of exiling the those souls here from Earth that are not in the same level as New Earth, so they will be moved to other planets and start life there, under, of course, very much worse conditions than here. Um, One example is a planet called Kirin, on the other side of the galaxy. Um, so a lot, guys. I think that the Call Is Now is it, it is a book that, particularly, it was my call that I depict in the first chapters, but then it's an invitation to everyone. I mean, one thing that I always tell everyone is that these messages are not mine. They are from these guys. So, I mean, that's what the main reason I don't charge for these books. If you go to Google Play, you can download them for free. Amazon, they make me charge, and that's the way they work. So they make me charge. So I put the minimum possible for the ebook and for the printed version. Basically, their minimum cost there. So comparing to other books, it's pretty affordable. Um,
I just want to add real
the
quick that it's great
Yep.
that you do that. And
Yeah.
we're going to put a link in the description for either from Amazon or Google. So it'll be there when we post
Absolutely.
this. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, we're good. I mean, I love if you guys have questions. Do you have any question right now? We're good.
What do you think, Jason? Anything on your mind, man?
Man, it's not even questions. It's more like statements about the work. Um, because I have a difficulty reading, but I'm reading about you, and I'm reading about your story, and it's taking me further into every scenario and every epiphany. And one of those beautiful things you highlighted in that initial dream, um, was that situation where it was like a dew of light that were entering like small points of information, and and it reminds me of the multi layers of what light is. It can be an information transfer mechanism. It can represent the light within inside. It can represent so much, and there's so much iconography, within your viewpoint, or within this scenario that you threw. If anything, one of the things, I know that we're going to lead the audience to reading it, but I was going to share some of the outtakes, if that's okay, so some of the
Yeah.
audience can kind of hear it, because it's kind of like, it's like poetry of your soul, because it's not just the words, it's the it's the meaning behind it, and the understanding that it's coming from a place of love. So you're hearing something from somebody that either that went through so many different things, and are just trying to reach these people, because the time is now to understand that, um that we need to, our ancestors and our progeny and our present right now need to come together and understand that, it's kind of like at one right now. But let me share some stuff here that's quite beautiful.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Um, Being special is not a trophy. It is a duty to help others who one day will be also be. One day we are privileged, the other we are in need. Take good care of your brothers and sisters. Today they need you. Tomorrow you will need them. Mary Austin. And Mary has written has sent you many beautiful messages, and that was the first one I took I took a lot of outtakes from it, but that was one I just kind of that was the first one I took out. Are there ones that you, in quiet moments, that you just kind of think about, and you're like, man, like if it just kind of melts your brain, because it challenges you as a person? Is there a message that you could think of at the moment?
Uh, well, I mean, there are um, a lot. Lately, let me say you guys this way. My memory is terrible. I have a terrible memory. So, when, for example, you read that, that passage, and then I remember that message, but I can remember, those most impactful or most recent. Um, I'm still writing a book that is called Scientia et Anima. It's in Latin. Well, not the book, but the title. And this book brings up, it's very, very specific about the Federation explaining things to us. So, technologies, or how the universe works, how life works, a bunch of things. They really, really, it blows my mind. It is a much more complex book, but with a lot of things. Um, for example, they mentioned, like, explain how the dimensions work. Um, and for example, we live in a three-dimensional world, right? So we know height, we know depth, we know width. So that's what we see, what we touch, what we feel. But that's not just it. There are multiple dimensions where a lot is going on in parallel to us. And they go through all that. So in other books, they also mention, they try to explain that a little bit. So, for example, they try to explain about the fourth dimension, what that is. Um, so, for example, the divine light, the ship that I mentioned, it is a four-dimensional ship. So it not only navigates through our regular space, but also, if you would imagine another dimension that is not one of those 3D dimensions, but a fourth one where you can navigate through that. Imagine, for example, that you are in a restaurant. Okay, let's say Applebee's, or IHOP, one of these places where you have a very large window on your side. Okay, if you're inside taking your meal, and then you look uh, at that window, you will see outside, right? But at the same time, you can see the reflection of what is happening inside the restaurant. You follow me there.
Yes.
So you can see if you look at that window, you can see the waiter, you can see people laughing, having conversations, singing happy birthday, all there because it's happening inside. But you're actually looking outside the window. The fourth dimension in our minds would work something like that because our minds cannot read the fourth dimension just like we do with 3D. So it would be something like a reality overlapped on top of ours. It's just like outside we have the cars outside the going by, and we have the people there also having their meals all together, all overlapped at the same in the same location. It would look something like that to us.
That's a great way to
Dare say
describe
that
that.
dare say the simplest explanation is like a double perception.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I kind of like because my simple mind thinks like, what's the simplest way I can think of this? It's a double perception of what's
Yep.
going on within that reality. Okay, this is I've never heard it explained it this way, but this is really
Yeah.
cool.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, this book is specific about stuff like that. That will, you need to read two, three, five times to say, "Oh, okay, now I get what this guy's talking about." This is pretty intense. It's different, and it's funny because one of the recent messages they said, well, one of the main goals here of this work is to provide all kinds of messages. So let's say that Jordan likes more historical figures, right? So he will connect to, let's say, former presidents or writers from the 1800s, right? Or Roman emperors, right? So there will be this kind of message directed to that kind of people that like historical figures. There are people, let's say, like me, that they prefer galactic, stories, galactic people, and they will connect more with this kind of message. There are others that they may, they like more biblical figures, and they might connect better with biblical figures, being brought. So that's where, I think the beauty of all these books is that you will find messages to all those flavors, if I might put it this way. Um, I think that well, like I mentioned, every single one you find all of these except for the Galactic Federation of Light Manual 1 and 2. Those were not channeled messages. Those were more like a compilation. Um, One of the messages they said, well, I told them, hey, what if we create a book where we could tell people more about, the Federation? And they said, well, that's a good idea, but there are already so many sources around the globe talking about the Federation. And I said, well, yeah, so they said, well, what if you, instead of channeling the book for that, what if you just compile things, from these multiple sources? So that's where the manuals came through, right? But there was so many things to talk about the Federation that it couldn't fit into one book. So that's why we have a book, Volume 1 and then Volume 2. Volume 2 was pretty recent, actually. The first volume was the second one. One interesting fact is that the Galactic Federation of Light, Book 2, that is the manual, was completed before the Call Is Now, before Book 1. So I was still writing book one when book two was ready to be published. And then they published both virtually all together at the same time. Any other question, guys?
So I'm kind of curious, has any of the information that's come through really changed your perspective or pre-existing belief systems prior to getting that message?
Yes, yes. One thing that I tell also everyone is that I'm the first one receiving these lessons. So, that kind of student that they sit in front of the class, the teacher is telling and you're there, writing down every single word,
Yep.
everything. So I'm that kind of student. So I need to first of all try to absorb those lessons and of course share them with everyone. That definitely is helping me with a lot of things. Let's say my ability to talk. Um, I if I would be here, let's say a couple years ago in front of you guys, I would be frozen. It would be hard for me to speak, to tell you, any kind of story here about these books. Um, my the way I can handle my patients. I mean, because everyone, well, nobody here on earth. I'm sorry to everyone that is watching, but nobody on earth is a saint right now. I mean, we all have our flaws. Even the most patient monk in the middle of the Himalayas, that person will have a flaw, and we're all here to learn. We're all here to evolve, and we might think that, oh, I'm a patient person, and then something happens during traffic, and then you just get angry and say, oh, you
Yeah, that belief
you,
sounds
you
like a
be
good way to get humbled.
yep. So yeah, so that kind of thing, small things that I started to change. For example, I started to become more. I'm not a vegetarian, but I could meat from my menu. So and chicken as well. Today I can't eat chicken or meat anymore. I still eat fish, seafood, but that's why I'm saying that I'm not vegetarian 100%. But I mean, that was a good step for me. Uh, I One thing that was very hard, might be simple to a lot of people, but was hard to me was to uh, stop coffee. Stop with coffee. I was really addicted to coffee. Um, and I would have terrible headaches if I wouldn't, get my cup of coffee in the morning. And now I've been months without drinking a sip of coffee. So a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, every day there are these lessons that, I really try to absorb.
I hate to admit it, WL. Um, I know the reason why the not eating meat. Jordan's explained it to me a few times, but I'm still eating meat and I'm still drinking tons of coffee, and that's something that I kind of want to follow you because I know fish is really good for. I mean, I like fish, but I have a coffee problem. Um,
That was hard
so
for me.
yeah, it's really hard. I drink straight espresso. I don't know if you guys
I
ever had
really,
just straight espresso or have a
Mhm.
percolator at home. Yeah, so
That's
I'm
awesome.
Cuban. So I'm Cuban, or I'm half Cuban, half Nicaraguan. So I drink just straight
Cuban
espresso.
coffee. Oh my
Yeah,
God, the best.
yeah, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. um, So I know that we've maybe covered it a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, because that initial dream that you had obviously was very profound and it kind of led you down this journey. When somebody that grows in front of you, it becomes huge and it says, "Hey, you're ready," and hey, these Pleiadians are going to come and talk to you. As the back of your mind, you're thinking like, are they just going to kind of visit in my head, or are they going to like show up and then bam, we're gonna have a full on experience because um, me, I'm a child of movies and television, and in my mind, because I was part of the whole mechanism, I would be thinking in my mind like, how is this gonna happen? I'm freaking out. I don't know if you thought about if you thought about the nitty gritty exactly how that was going to be facilitated, or you were just kind of trusting yourself that that's how it was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you said exactly what came to my mind. I mean, what the hell should I expect,
Yeah,
right? Uh, I had absolutely no idea. Would I just, one day open my eyes and see aliens in my room? Would a ship just, descend from the sky? Or, what the hell would happen? And that's where, I was more concerned about how that would work instead of just allowing things to just, flow. So that's where those 2 weeks after I got this experience, they were really important to me to try to find myself there, and try to just say, hey, you know what? Let's do whatever happens, happens. And that's when I just said, okay, let's have this session, and I'll try to write down. Okay, take you guys take from here. I'm good. But I really didn't know what to expect. Um, but one day now, I had an experience. It's called having a double vision. Not that I was drunk, but the double vision is whenever you are in a state that is between dreaming and being lucid. So you are in that state, in kind of a flux that you have your eyes open, but you can see, let's say, beyond the 3D realm. I had that recently where I saw some aliens like Arcturians in my bedroom. They were kind of walking around. There was a specific machine on top of my bed. And then this takes like seconds. I can see, and then the reality will take place, right? I don't have control of that. Then I got a message saying that they were putting a monitoring station there during this planetary transition to do some research. I had agreed before with them to do that work. Um, and that's why they were there. So yeah, that was what you were saying about seeing those the little green man. That was the situation that I really saw them.
I want to say I love that he came up with the contact manual because kind of like what you referenced with movies, that's what most people have to reference, you know? So I totally understand why that stuff's the first thing that comes to mind. Now I'm curious, prior to that first out-of-body experience there, were you open to extraterrestrials or was it all kind of new to you?
I was. I was always a science fiction fan. So, but not all kinds of science fiction. Let's say I'm more a Star Trek guy than a Star Wars guy. Um, so I like the idea of exploration, uh, of exploring situations, new technologies, not only fights in stellar uh, old western.
Yeah, battles. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew with that a lot, with that in mind. I always also enjoyed other kinds of movies. So, for example, I mentioned Independence Day, even though I believe it's far from reality, but it is an interesting movie. I mean, um, I think that there are depictions in I think the one movie that's coming up. What's the name of that? Disclosure Day, I think, from
Steven
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Yep. So I think that movie will be pretty good. I mean, I'm really looking forward for that.
Excuse me, guys. Sorry, a little
Bless
dust
you.
bunny.
Bless you.
Thank you. Um, so there was a small quote in the back of my mind. It said, "Happiness is not a reward, but a path." There's a lot of like little nuggets throughout the book. They kind of nudges you in spiritual manners and just like regular manners. Um, so, what is one thing that you've kind of like discerned with yourself with kind of like the moral compass between us and other beings, if you will, throughout the cosmos? Like, what are some of the major differences you feel?
A lot, a lot. I mean, the beauty of the Galactic Federation is that they are not. They're composed of all kinds of people, all kinds of people. So there are people just like you and me, and of course there are these very high, elevated, beings that we would need a million years to get to that stage. Um, and that's I think what the book five came from, letters from the Galactic Federation of Light, because the Federation wanted to start a work with me, showing, hey, we are people like you. We are not gods, because a lot of people see them as these guys from so distant. They're so distant from us. They are virtually gods, and we are here. These people. They will never be like that. So they want to break that. That kind of taboo, saying, "Hey, we are just like you guys." And then they present themselves with multiple stories or letters, saying, "Hey, this is my family." The first message is pretty awesome from that book. I got from the IT guy from one of their ships. That was the IT guy saying, "Hey, I'm here to, making sure that the connection is well established. I'll be here, helping you guys along the way." And saying, "Okay, good." I mean, that's the IT guy. Then there are, beings of pure light. Beings, I'm not sure. I don't remember if that's in book five, but there's a race that they are called the Binars. They are always linked. Their minds are in synchrony, in between two people. So they will always be in a pair talking to you. So it's a very different experience. There's one guy that he doesn't have a head. If you think about a body like ours, his brain, or the whatever we have in our head, right? It's distributed through his body. So there are beings, from all kinds of shapes, and they all one thing, they're all trying to evolve, through love, uh, being a better person, helping others. That's their thing. That's their goal. And now trying to help Earth, you know, so that we are today, one day we are together. We can grow together. Um, as much as we have to learn from them, they want to learn stuff from us. So there's one letter, not from book 5, but one of the later books, probably book 8. There's a messenger from the Federation that I think they're Umites. Yes, that's their race, the Umites. She is they're a very logical people. Of course, that they feel love, but they are more focused on the order of things. And they say, well, we're eager to learn with you guys the ability that humans have to control chaos. You know, like they like the saying, get give me a lemon and I'll make a lemonade, right? So the same thing. I mean, our ability to be in a chaotic environment, the sky's falling, and we can just go through that. We survive. We find a way to thrive, and that's one of the lessons that they want us they want to exchange, with us. The I never thought about that. I said, well, yeah, we're pretty good doing
Yeah,
that.
we are. We're all pros at that for sure.
From what I understand, and I could be false in my statement, I heard that one of the things that is envious, not envious, but that stands out for us is we have an innate ability for creativity that maybe had been stomped out some time ago for some other races. I don't know that for a fact. Um, I was curious because I haven't read the entirety of the body of work so far. Um, excuse me. What is their interest in us developing our abilities? So you have your mediumship, but down the road maybe that will open up to another ability or so forth. Some of us have to tap into meditation in order to perhaps tap into these other abilities. What is some of the messages you have about us, basically essentially accepting our total selves? Like
Yeah.
what is the importance of that within some of these messages?
Very, very good question. Mankind is a very successful experiment in terms of creation. Uh, what other civilizations would take millions of years to evolve, we are doing that in terms of thousands of years, not millions. Even though we look back and we look around and say, we're not that evolved. But if we look, the bigger picture, if we look where we were 100 years ago, where we were 300 years ago, 1,000, you start seeing that, hey, that's not a long time. The dinosaurs were here for a much longer time, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. They didn't establish a civilization here, but we did. We thrived in a very short time. And their expectation is that one day us, the students, will become the masters. We will get to a point where we'll be, teaching this love, teaching this spiritual growth, will be so much advanced compared to what we are now, that we'll be side by side with those guys that we think, wow, they're gods today. So I think one of their main expectations about helping mankind is that they are helping us to become what we were, what we need to be in the future.
You know, there was a in the first book, one thing that I really appreciated, you know, they're not at all pitching, you know, we're saviors, but it's, you know, we're kind of here to walk alongside you. I really thought that was cool.
Yeah. That's their position always, always. I mean, they are not here to say, hey, a lot of people say, oh, I really want the aliens to come to take me out of here. Right? I mean, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. Not right now. I mean, let's say 200, 300 years from now, that might be possible, with interstellar travel and so on, but not now. They're not here to resolve our own problems. And that's the way they do with every civilization. In the one of the latest books, that's Tales from the Galactic Federation of Light, there are other multiple cases actually where they bring up stories from other civilizations that were just like ours. And these civilizations, they had to go through whatever they had to go through in order to learn and then get to a point that they would look back and say, hey, we were pretty dumb. We were really stupid. We got to work together. And then they started to thrive. And then the Galactic Federation started to work with them and exchange, the knowledge. So what you said is pretty much true. I mean, they're not saviors. They're not here to save anyone. They're here to help us so we can be our own saviors. You know.
Um, with that being said, what is their viewpoint in our activity when we do CE5? Are they in favor of this? Because like I'm doing it for multiple reasons, but predominantly to kind of make like peaceful contact. But also, I do know that like a lot of our societal stuff is going to fall on us. So what is that? What is their viewpoint on that role in our effort in our intent to contact them?
Well, they let me let me just think about it. I mean, their role is to assist in this planetary transition, right? Because we were back then, back when Atlantis, Lemuria, those lost civilizations existed, we already had contact with the Federation. We we didn't have, of course, interstellar travel with them, but we had contact with these guys. A lot of mythology came from those lost ideas. And then we got to a point where we were not in sync with their vibration anymore. And well, those civilizations were lost, and then the contact were totally cut. So right now we are in some sort of quarantine, galactic quarantine, and they're really, eager to soon that we can be back again, connect again with these guys, and be open again to the galactic community, right? So, because that's really an interchange of experiences, of stories, of culture, of everything, and not just like the let's say the Europeans, when they invaded the Americas, right? And the original people from the Americas were obliterated, right? They don't want that to happen. They want us to be on the same, place with them first, and then they can talk, like a friend to another friend, and not create that kind of cultural shock, if I may put it this way. Yeah.
Um, like I mentioned not too long ago, I didn't read the entirety of the body of work. Is there anything mentioned about individuals on the spectrum or autistic children or autistic adults and our relationship with them and what we're learning from them and our universal laws or rules or lessons, if you will?
Yeah, yeah. Not all, but there are individuals from other stars, right? That when they incarnate on Earth, uh, they're they have a phase of to adapt, and this, because they are their lives, their, well, better saying, their perispirit, that is the layer outside of your spirit, it needs to be adapted to the planet that you're incarnating. And when you're in that stage, that may cause what we often call autism at some levels, right? Multiple levels. And that's where we can see some a lot of these a lot of people under this kind of situation, that they have such a huge heart, an amazing heart, that we don't know where that came from, right? Where that came from. So a lot comes from that technology. A lot of people like that, they can come with ideas so bright, so out of the box, that you can't explain. I mean, it's just simply genius. That comes also from these memories, inner memories from their past incarnation.
Um, before I ask another question, there's one because I kind of flipped through. There's one little tidbit I want to take out. It's a quick one. I love it. It said the book of life is always open to the page of the lesson we need by Joao Evo. Oh, Joao. And Joao wrote a few in there.
Yep.
Some amazing stuff in there. Um, so I know that there's just like me and just like Jordan. Every time we're the next page and the next page, a little nugget, a little nugget. Um, what is so as the reader goes and they're going for that next nugget and that next nugget. Um, do you is it a part of this kind of like it feels like self mastery? Or are they teaching us how to love ourselves and understand the universe and understand our place in it? Essentially, is that kind of like a centralized theme in this work, sort of?
That's it. I mean, learning how to love. If we need to sum all these books into a phrase, it is, or two words, it's four words: learning how to love. That's it. I mean, and they provide that with in so many ways, so many different stories, so many different examples, that I don't know how they don't get tired of doing that, really, because every single message is about that at some level. I mean, loving ourselves, loving our enemies, loving our neighbor, loving, our family, loving, a stranger, loving, everybody, everything, uh, and raise that connection, step by step. So yeah, basically, it's learning how to love. Yeah.
Nice.
And
Now I'm curious, you mentioned the Sanctuary, and I was pretty excited to read that, and I'm really excited for book three after what you said. I'm not quite there yet. Um, with the Astral City that's above us, because again, I'm in one of those areas you mentioned. Now I'm curious, have you visited that Astral City after the Sanctuary since then, or no?
I did
Nice.
during a dream, and I was not. I didn't know I was there. But I had a dream, very very lucid, where I was in a bakery. And one of the chapters here from that book, it's pretty fascinating. It's about a baker in the Astral City, and he has a baker shop. So we might think, what the hell? And it's funny because, well, first, let me explain a couple concepts here. When you are a citizen in in this astral city, you get access to some basic stuff, right? I mean, basic clothing like a tunic, um, and you have access to if you are still in the with the habit of eating, you can get access to some sort of soup that they provide, um because not because we just died that we, it's just like leaving behind coffee that we just mentioned. I mean, it's a habit. I mean, it will kick in. You just feel the need of that, feel the need to sleep, so that happens in the afterworld. So they provide these basic needs to people. But if you work, you will get access to their money that is some sort of bonus that you can collect. And these bonuses, you can do whatever you want with them. So if you want to, let's say, go to the baker's shop where he creates from the same material, etheric material, that the soup is created, he can create cakes or pastries. But
That's
instead
neat.
of having that flavor of the soup, it tastes like strawberries, tastes like blueberry, and it tastes like candy. So you can purchase that with your hard work, your bonuses. You can purchase that cake or that pastry. Same thing for clothing. I mean, if you don't want that tunic, if you want, I don't know, a hat, you can buy a hat, but you need to deserve, you need to work for that. And then with your very earned money, let's say, you can go there to the clothing shop and get whatever you want there. So why did I say all about that? Because the dream that I had, I was in that baker shop, and I was amazed that I tasted I think it was a pastry that its flavor was so amazing. And I said, I just can't believe that this is not, a real pastry. This is just some etheric thing. And I was discussing that with that person, the baker, and how amazing that was. That was unbelievable. Um, and I'm pretty sure that I was at that particular shop with the baker from the message from book three. So
That's really
yeah,
neat.
that's a moment, a clear moment. I was there for sure.
Nice.
yeah, kind of gave me a Willy Wonka feel. I don't know about you guys. I was like, I want to go to Willy Wonka factory, man.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
yeah. There are in that book there are lots of stories. I mean, different stories. There's a guy that he makes bikes. I mean, if you want to walk around, that's free. If you want to, purchase a bike, to just go pedaling. That's up to you. If you want to go, that there are a florist. They can purchase that she can create gifts to people. So of course they will not create a video game or or a TV set. But let's say that you want to give a heart-shaped something to a dear friend. You can go there and request that to be made, and you have that gift. So not they produce things that will not attach you to the material, right?
Right.
That's not the idea, but to remember, also because a lot of people think that, well, when I die, I'll just go to heaven and I will just, stay there with the angels until the end of time, right? Doing nothing. Imagine if you have a vacation that long. It's a long time. You will get bored.
Oh yeah.
If we have, let's say, a 30-day vacation, first week, that's awesome. You're awesome, right? Yay, no work. Second week, you're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's good. Third week, you start, getting very uncomfortable because you feel the need of do something. You got to do something. Same thing there. Same
Yeah.
thing there. Yeah.
Um, so um, with the many advices through the messages, I've often wondered, because it's cosmic. Um, what are some what is the so I always feel like there's an attack on the mind and there's an attack on the heart, and then some of the attacks are simultaneous. Um, which are the ones that I guess that we are warned about, or that we need to be the most careful about? I guess because sometimes both can influence one or the other, but without them being together, we're kind of lost. So I
Yep.
kind of feel like the negative aspects of the cosmos attack one or the other to try to throw you off path, so they can kind of feed off of that. What is their advice to kind of balance both?
Yeah. It's always a matter of balancing, your mind and your heart. That's part of your evolution. I mean, you got to be, develop your love. That's important, right? But you also have a lot of things that you need to develop or opportunities to develop, right? So uh, I might like a history. So I would like I want to learn more about history, right? That will make me a better person in the sense that, well, I'll look all of these lessons from the past, right? Look, all things that happened, how civilizations they relate to each other. So there's a lot of learning there that can be applied in conjunction with your love, your spirit, and move you forward. So we always need to go, side by side with those. Not, we gotta if we are too elevated with our mind, but we do not elevate uh, our feelings, right? Our spirit. We saw some pretty dark moments in our history that happened. So civilizations that they became overly powerful, um, but with almost no heart, right? Uh, the other way around. I mean, we can see some pretty some people that are very advanced in terms of their heart, but they don't have much education, right? And we might think, well, what if that person would have some more education in terms of graduation, right, or whatever? that would help that person, right? That would be a better thing for that person. So that's why we should move both at the same, to the same level as much as we can.
I was curious if you guys kind of humored me for a moment. One of the things that I've noticed that it talked about the finding the beauty and simplicity, and just kind of finding the beauty in the mundane moment. And there was a little outtake another little one I was gonna share with the audience. Days are beautiful. Admire the flowers, the singing of the birds, the warm rays of light. Feel its warmth on your face. Feel the blessings from the sun. Enjoy every second of life. Mary Austin. Um, there's a lot of complicated questions I asked you, but I think the most simplest stuff is the most beautiful stuff. Because I think as humans, we tend to complicate our lives and our interpretations of what the messages we're getting. And stuff that Mary is saying is just kind of like, just kind of enjoying what you got right now and loving it, And I think part of the big self love thing is a big part of this
Exactly.
whole part of this work here.
Because this exact moment will never happen again.
Yeah.
Right? It will never happen again. So, I mean, you don't have to be attached to that moment, because if you're attached, you will not get the next moment and the other one that is coming, right? So, all these small things that we just take for granted, they are amazing things, looking at a flower, see, the birds, uh, the blue sky, you know, just filling your lungs with fresh air. Things that uh, we take for granted, but it is invaluable to many people. For example, there are people that they have lung cancer. They can't take that deep breath that you just did of fresh air. There are people that they cannot see those birds in the sky. So that's, we just take everything, our world, our lives, we are all in a rush, in a constant, fight against time. We don't have time for anything. And we kind of let these small things slip through our fingers every single day. And if we try to stop a little bit, whenever we're going to work, we're getting back to from work, instead of just, sitting uh in a couch watching, Netflix. Not that I don't like it. I like Netflix, but I mean, there's more life than that, right? I mean, you can just look at the stars. One thing that I love here in Oklahoma, for example, is the night sky. I lived in Tampa before here, and before I lived in São Paulo, Brazil. If you look up and then try to see the sky in São Paulo, you will see like one, two stars, maybe three if you're lucky. Here, wow, you can look at the sky and can see so many beautiful things going on, right? And that is a true blessing. But yeah, those, I think we got to learn more about how to appreciate those small things. Yeah.
Fantastic. Um, hmm. What are what do you think that will be your because I know you're not out here to prove anything to anybody. This is just your experience and you're sharing it with us and you're sharing it with the world. Um what do you think that would be the biggest thing that the detractors will use against you to say, "Don't listen to this guy. This is all made up." Like, what kind of what will kind of delay this? Because I want the world to read this, but I don't want anybody to say, this isn't happening. Well, I know you've had confirmation. We're here talking about it. And in my personal experience, this is aligned perfectly because a lot of the lessons in these books are things that, as soon as I'm reading them, I'm like enveloping into myself and a deeper understanding of it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, um, is there anything that could stop this work? Because I don't think it should be stopped at all. I think this needs to continue because there's a multitude of lessons that is probably endless that needs to come through individuals like yourself that will be part of like a greater like akashic record, if you will, for the cosmic and for the eternity.
Mhm.
um, what is a way that we could confirm this? Essentially, like, is there a way that we could do like remote viewing in these kind of messages? Like you and yourself and another individual would be able to write the exact same. Does that make sense? Like, is there a way
Yes.
to double proof this in a way?
Yeah. And this is not from any message, but um, what I'll just share my own experience here. I mean, uh, I was, I'm always trying to double check, whatever a message comes, and try to think, hey, like I said, is this coming from my mind or is this really a message, right? But if you look, if you ignore that barrier, just ignore if it came from your mind or it really came from someone else. Let's look into the content of the message. Let's try to absorb that, you know, independent of who wrote that. Uh, and let's try to do a test. Let's put that into practice in our lives. You know what will start happening? You will start seeing synchronicities, and they will start showing everywhere. And so you look at the clock, it's 11:11 a.m. You look at, a license plate, it's 1414. It's 1234. So you start seeing these numbers around much more frequently than you were before because it's a very gentle nudge from the spiritual world to say, hey, keep going. You keep going. This is the way. You're doing it right now. Um, so just take these messages and start, trying. Well, worst case scenario, you'll be a better person. You will not be a jerk, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right?
True.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you will be more patient. You'll be a better father. You'll be a better mother. You'll be better at work with your colleagues. You know, you'll be a better boss. The worst case scenario, you will be a better person. Yeah. And really, personally, I don't care if people believe or not, in these messages. If they are okay, just reading them for fun, just go for it. I mean, don't imagine that these galactic messages, they are science fiction. I'm good. I'm good.
If they help you, who cares, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because for the longest time I needed validation, and when I got past that point and I saw that in others, I'm like, oh, they're definitely telling the truth because they're past that whole entire needing validation from anybody. They're just kind of just living their life and and living it to the fullest. Um, WL, I feel terrible. We're kind of running out of time. So before we do, I just wanted to kind of want to wrap this up. And before I do, I just wanted to thank you for reaching out. It's a big deal that you reached out to me because you're our first major time author, and you're going to be
Thank
one of
you.
our first, along with Ron, multi-time guest. I just wanted to start this one so people get to know you initially, and then kind of break down your work and also just kind of get to know you and kind of get to kind of get to live these lessons, if you will. So before we go, is there a way that the audience can get a hold of you in case you need it for a speech or anything anything like that?
Yeah. So basically, my email is thespiritsfiles@gmail.com. But if you go to at the back of every book, and again, the books are for free at Google Play. You will see I put all my contact information there. So, for example, here, there's my email, my YouTube channel. There's also a QR code for people to download the books. So, if here is the QR code. If you scan this code, it will take you directly to Google Play, and you'll see everything in there. Yeah, I mean, and I'm really open to everyone, any person. I'm just a regular Joe.
Fantastic, brother. So just so forewarned, the next time we have you on, we're going to be talking about the Galactic Federation of Light Manual, Volume One. I implore everybody that's out there listening to read that before we have WL back on, and of course, me and Jordan are going to read that and tear that stuff apart. Um, Before we go, I want to thank the audience for joining us. Thank you for listening and watching this video with us. Um, if you guys are ever interested in QHHT or SCHH sessions for to do with Jordan, please there's a link down below in the description for his services. If you guys are interested in being one of our guests on our podcast, we also have our emails down below, me and Jordan, or and any way you want to get a hold of us. Um, if there's any other way you'd like to support the podcast, predominantly if you would like to, please like this video, subscribe, or share with your friends and let them know kind of what we're doing here. Um, with all that being said, God bless you guys. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys have a blessed evening. Good night.